Hey guys, how's it going? Today, I'm going to be featuring the Z-23, the Tier 7 tech tree German destroyer. Now, in one of my previous videos of the Lightning, the Tier 7 British destroyer, I did mention that the Z-23 was my go-to destroyer. The main reason that I preferred the Z-23 over the Lightning back in the day was because of the longer range sonar, having an extremely long sonar range in comparison to the Lightning, and really at the time there were no other destroyers at the tier that had sonar, so you did have an extreme advantage over the Lightning in terms of being able to contest capture points, and really in any DD versus DD fight, the smoke and sonar combo on German destroyers is pretty much the bread and butter and the way you want to try and utilize these tools, because you simply have all of the advantage in a gunfight. The Z-23 is also one of the destroyers that has an extremely high HP pool. I think the only destroyers that the Z-23 loses out to is the Tashkent and YOLO Emilio, having smoke, sonar, a high HP pool, and 150mm guns definitely do give you an advantage over any destroyer, even if they out DPM you. As long as you have your smoke and sonar available, you really should be able to win any gunfight. Well, at least that's how it used to be. Fast forward to today, well, there's actually a whole lot of ships that have smoke, sonar, radar, really a lot of things that can counter you, and essentially the Z-23 has been power crept. But I do think that this ship is still very good. I think for the most part, any destroyer that has any sort of utility will be at the top of my list. The only destroyers that don't have utility that I would have above the destroyers that have utility, they would have to do something pretty special. For example, the Fletcher and Akizuki's DPM. Those ships are just extremely capable, even though that they don't have sonar. Anyway, moving on to the game. I did try to capture the Charlie point because the ship, like I said, is an excellent cap contester. However, there were 3 battleships that have decided to just charge in instead of trying to smoke up and contest the cap when I really didn't need to. I simply just left, and instead of running back to our spawn, I ran towards the middle of the map so I could torp the broadsides of these battleships as they charge in. We still have friendly battleships on the left side that the enemy battleships have to angle towards, so as long as we simply just stay here, we have the broadsides of battleships and can deal a whole lot of damage. There is no reason to sail away and really go anywhere else because we have the perfect angle to get torps on all of these battleships. The Vladivostok looks like he's just going to keep charging in because he's already committed and lost all of his HP. So I am pretty much just going to focus my torpedoes on this Bismarck. He is reversing, but I do think he will start going forward at some point, because if he keeps reversing, he will hit the island. So I launched these torpedoes short. I noticed the Vladivostok beaches, but he is simply getting chunked and losing all of his HP. I can see the white line starting to move forward very slowly, so I do launch this one in front of the Bismarck instead of trying to torp where the line is. Something else that I forgot to mention was that we know there is an enemy Wichita north of the Charlie Cap, which is the cruiser that was last spotted up there. So knowing that he has radar, we definitely did not really want to stick around the cap and then be radared and focused by 3 battleships. My first set of torpedoes that I had launched short do land, and it causes a permanent flood. The Bismarck is now pretty much dead since he's permaflooding, and there is still another set of torps on the way, as well as 3 friendly ships shooting at his broadside. My second set of torps that I had predicted him going forward were very good, and 2 torpedoes land, with us securing that kill. Now, as we push towards Bravo, we are located, and we actually do end up getting spotted. And there is an enemy Z-46, the Tier 8 German destroyer. We are significantly out DPM'd here. So we do want to try our best and play this as safely as we can. We can't exactly kite away because if we do turn out, there is still that enemy Wichita that is north of Charlie that has a radar. We launch some torpedoes to make this Z-46 have to dodge and not only focus on gunning us down. We also do have some of our friendly ships helping us out. However, we were doing a pretty good job in out trading this Z-46. One of our friendlies hit the destroyer pretty hard and leaves him on a sliver, and we're able to finish him off. With the enemy Z-46 being the last destroyer on the enemy team and us killing him off, we can now pretty much just smoke up and start farming these battleships. The Z-23 does have a pretty good fire chance with its 150mm guns, which I was able to set quick fires on that enemy Republique. He does end up damage conning, and we do still have torpedoes on the way. These are actually looking pretty good for both of them, as that Republique is reversing and this Musashi is going forward. So this might be a potential for some double strikes or really just dual purpose torps. They both go unspotted. I land one torpedo on the bow of the Republique and it causes a flood. However, the Musashi does go down just before my torpedoes reach. Now this Republique is on a permaflood, and our first salvo at him with HE, we do set a permafire. Our second salvo, we set another permafire, so he's double fired and permaflooding, and you can see his health just simply melting away. A quick peek at the minimap, we can see that the enemy Wichita is now pointed this way, and most likely coming here. He does end up getting spotted, and we do want to try and get away as quickly as we can before he ends up using his radar. Fortunately, he does get removed from the game by one of our friendly battleships, and all that remains is one enemy cruiser that was last spotted out there north of Bravo. Being on 4 kills, I am in the hunt for a Kraken. With my RPF pointing at where the enemy ship is, that is exactly where I want to go. I think this game was a decent example of how the Z-23 can perform in today's meta. Obviously, we didn't really have to go against Frieslands or Loyangs that just simply absolutely dumpstered the Z-23. I honestly think I probably should have been dumpstered a little harder by that Z-46. Him shooting HE with such a low HE alpha, he didn't exactly do a whole lot and was basically losing a trade with a lower tier destroyer. If he had switched to AP, I probably would have been losing pretty bad, but all I would really need to do is simply angle my ship either away or towards the Z-46 and force him to use his low alpha HE. We do end up spotting this Azuma, who is trying to run towards the border away from our whole team. Looking at the map, we do need to be pretty careful as we gunboat him because we are simply the closest and probably the only thing spotted. Instead of continuously chasing him and pushing straight towards him, I am going to try to use this island inside the cap to go unspotted and try to reposition myself where I could potentially use some AP and put it into his broadside. Our friendly ships do end up spawning the Azuma. I switch to AP, but he does end up angling away. So we just switch back to HE with the Azuma kiting away, and we're nearing 900 points. We do want to try and kill him off as quickly as we can. After we switch back to HE, our first salvo does end up setting a fire, which he does damage con. And well, now that he doesn't have a damage con, our second salvo does end up setting a fire as well. And our third salvo landing sets a third fire, and we do actually end up killing him. But the Z-23, definitely one of the destroyers that I still enjoy playing. Obviously, there are a bunch of other sonar destroyers that can do what the Z can, but much better. Also, the other sonar destroyers are premiums, so they do earn a lot more credits and pretty much have a much higher reason to play those ships over any of the tech tree destroyers. In this game, I was using Eirik Bay with a typical destroyer build with Sims and Swirsky as inspirations. I did realize that I was using Perceptive. I think this was the last build I used for my Z-46, since the turret traverse on that ship is pretty good. For the Z-23 and the ZF-6, I do recommend Twist and Track instead. But that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe for more, and share it with your friends, or leave a comment down below for any other ships you want to see in the future. But until next time, aloha.